locked in.
Look at what we have here, folks.
To the only show that matters.
The cream of the crop.
Duke loves wrestling.
And there is no one that does it better than
your host.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
The Duke.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
This is my house.
You watching Eddie Murphy again?
No, come on. That's WWE Women's former champion, Paige. That's her catchphrase.
Oh, usually do a classic catchphrase, so that you're going new school on me.
That's right, brother. You got to keep up, man.
Get some Franks, Charlie.
Oh, boy.
I love that bit, that Eddie bit.
Maybe she stole it from Eddie. That's it. That's right.
Maybe she did steal it from Eddie, although if you're going to steal.
It's a rite of passage. Any man that gets a house, he has to proclaim.
Right.
That's my house.
It's at some point to someone who didn't ask him.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. So Paige proclaiming in the ring, it's her house.
And
She's not a man, but...
And maybe it's just that I've had a week off, but I'm not going to berate you as much for that horrible impression because you're not a woman, right? So you can only, you're only ever going to get 50% there.
Oh, boy. Welcome back to Duke Loves Rasslin. I am the Duke, and yes, I do enjoy doing pro wrestling impersonations, and I'm going to keep on doing them no matter what my illustrious co-host, the Boston bad boy, Iron Mike Pelosi, says.
Yeah, well, and every week I'm going to try and talk about it. For the sake of our listeners, I care about you, the listener.
Oh, boy.
I have a very deep caring in my heart.
This guy doesn't care about any of you, just so you know, folks, all right? He's over here. He got his fingers crossed. I'm telling you.
Yeah, all right.
Listen, I'm so glad that you folks could join us once again. We were on holiday break last week.
Yeah.
All right? Everything from Rosh Hashanah to Columbus/Indigenous People Day.
Oh, please.
That's right.
The Columbus Day.
Hey.
Does it ever end with the argument? Can we find another Italian? How many Italians have contributed to the world? I'm Italian. All right. How many Italians? Galileo.
Hey, there you go.
There's a great Italian. Marconi.
Oh.
Pick anybody.
Anybody.
Pick the entire population of Italy right now. Probably any one of those other than Christopher Columbus.
Al Pacino Day. Why don't we have Al Pacino Day? Okay, I would love that. All right. Yeah, all right. This guy.
See, now that's an impression once again.
Yeah. Well, listen. During my vacation, let me tell you, I was reading Dusty Wolf's book, which is just fantastic. Folks, if you head over to Amazon.com, you got to get Dusty Wolf's book. Okay? The story of a journeyman there, he's just, it's amazing. He has some great anecdotes and various stories in there. But let me tell you something. I caught up with Polina. She's going to be at Wrestle Kingdom 3, and this is happening over at the Pattaya Boxing World Stadium, November 18th and 19th. Let me tell you something, man. She had some mean things to say about Tyra. Tyra's family is going to be in the audience. Polina says she's going to break her bones. She said that she's going to bite her leg.
Wow.
She's going to do anything and everything to make Tyra's family cry.
Now, did you fly out there all the way over there, or did she fly here?
No, we were talking to each other.
Yep.
She's over in Russia.
Yep.
We're talking to each other, and she was making some things very clear.
Obviously.
Okay, let me tell you something, man. I was a little concerned.
In Russia, dog bites you.
Exactly. Well, and she meant everything she said.
Yeah,
so listen, all I ask is that she doesn't hurt me because she's pretty tough.
Yeah, you probably should watch it.
Yeah. What did you do during your time off there?
Well, little song, little dance. I'm a Renaissance man, so I was working on various long form sonnets. Some large format paintings. General, just the stuff I do, some astronomy.
Sure.
Just the little things that I like to dabble in.
Wow.
Anything really. I could have put my head into a woodworking vise and tightened it just enough. It would have been better than having to sit here last week with you. So
whatever.
It was a positive experience.
You got to be kidding me.
No matter
today.
what I did.
He hasn't missed a beat.
Because I've already got a headache. Because I know where this is going tonight.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that you're going to be on more than usual.
This is the best moment of your entire week, okay? We have a set of your fan-submitted questions, a.k.a. Ask Duke. We also have the well-respected Lovell Porter. He's coming back. He's going to tell us about the state of pro wrestling. Can't wait for that, I'm telling you.
And I think we might actually have a special guest as well sneaking in before all those festivities after we do the Run the Ropes.
Oh, we got a surprise from the Boston
I did do a little
Bad Boy.
work over the holiday. So,
Wow.
this is a little gift to you so that you owe me. And then, once again, I have the upper hand.
You hear that, folks? Now, a gift is supposed to be something out of the goodness of your heart. But this guy, he's only doing it in order to get something in return.
That's right.
What did I tell you? He doesn't care about us. Okay? I'm telling you.
That's politics, baby.
Yeah, right. You're right. Well, listen, before we get to any of that, if you're a beard guy, like the Boston Bad Boy and myself,
I try.
listen, we're always looking for products to get the job done, right? With all the beard-related itching, the dry skin underneath, it's important to find something that can soothe and moisturize the skin. And don't even get me started about the beard scruff, okay? How many times have you been asked to find a way to soften the scruff so that that special person in your life can get a little bit closer? Folks, look no further because we found the place for you. BrothersArtisanoil.com. That's right, BrothersArtisanoil.com. This is your one-stop shop for your beard, face, and head grooming needs. Everything from beard oil, shaving oil, even pomade for your head. And the best part, everything is all natural and made in the USA. Head over to brothersartisanoil.com for more info. Enjoy. It's time to run the ropes. I give my opinion on the top 5 stories in the world of professional wrestling. Let's go. Hideo Itami injured again. Stop the presses. Unfortunate news coming out of WWE.com. That's right, Hideo Itami has once again been injured, and this time it's his neck. Folks, this is a major setback for a guy who was once considered one of the top wrestlers in all of Japan and even the world. During a match, he teamed up with the NXT champion Shinsuke Nakamura. They took on Tino Sabatelli and Riddick Moss. Hideo took a power slam, and before you knew it, the guy was holding his neck. It was no good. Folks, stay tuned because this is a developing story, and hopefully he will be able to pull through and get back in that ring. Ronda Rousey returning to the UFC? That's right. It was announced on The Herd with Colin Cowherd on Fox Sports 1 that UFC megastar Ronda Rousey, she's going to be challenging for the Bantamweight Championship, going up against Amanda Nunes. Now, this is happening on December 30th at UFC 207 in Las Vegas. This will mark the first fight for Rousey since she was destroyed by Holly Holm back at UFC 193. Can Rousey reclaim her championship, or has the UFC passed her by? Ric Flair breaks the internet. Yes, folks, the nature boy Ric Flair continues to be the talk of the town. Now, this is despite the fact that he's been retired from active wrestling competition. So what did he do? Well, listen, he announced on the Ric Flair Show podcast that he slept with Halle Berry. Yeah, that Halle Berry. Now, listen to this. Flair explained that when Halle Berry broke up with her former husband, David Justice, Halle Berry took a ride on Space Mountain. Now, predictably, Flair's co-host Conrad Thompson proceeded to giggle himself silly at this salacious news. Will the Nature Boy expose any other Hollywood beauties he's had the Broadway with? We'll have to find out. Alberto El Patron in a knife fight. Oof. During a live interview with TMZ, the man formerly known as Alberto Del Rio explains why he was cut several times. He says that a drunk assailant who threatened his real-life girlfriend, Paige, attacked him, and Alberto had to fend him off, but he took a couple of knife cuts on his arm and the back of his head in the process. Now listen, is Alberto telling the truth here, or is something else going on? It's very fishy, folks, but stay tuned. We'll have to wait and see how this develops. Paige suspended for violating the WWE wellness policy again? The New York Post reached out to the WWE for info regarding former Divas champion Paige. She was suspended for 60 days, and this is on the heels of being suspended 30 days within the past 2 months. What happened here? Well, Paige and her family took to social media and they ran the WWE down. They claimed that they had a prescription, but the WWE didn't accept it. Well, WWE didn't take it lying down, okay? They explained that Paige did not test positive for a prescription drug. It was actually an illegal substance. Is the WWE telling the truth or is Paige telling the truth? You'll have to stay tuned to find out, folks. You've heard the news and you heard what I think. What do you think? Head over to Twitter and Facebook at Duke Loves Rasslin. Let me know. Do you think I'm a fool? Do you think I'm telling the truth? One way or another, we're going to find out. Up next, Lovell Porter of WrestleZone talks the state of pro wrestling.
Hey guys, this is Chelsea, the wrestling fan, and you're listening to Duke Loves Rasslin.
We had a great talk with Silver Fox and the pastor of wrestling on our last episode. Everything from reviewing WWE Clash of Champions to discussing Ric Flair promos. Woo! It was truly a fun episode, folks. Head over to Duke Loves Rasslin on iTunes or YouTube and listen for episode 25 to hear the craziness that ensued. This week, it's time to discuss the state of pro wrestling. And who better to do that than with the well-respected Mr. Remember to hit record. We're talking about Mr. WrestleZone.com, Lovell Porter. How are you, Porter?
Here, Duke.
I'm glad to have you, brother. Listen, there's so much that's gone on in pro wrestling in the past 2 weeks. Let's just jump right into it. Ric Flair claimed on the Ric Flair show that he believes Dixie Carter is trying to bump up the sale price for TNA by leaking information that the WWE was interested in purchasing them. What's going on with that situation there?
Well, here's the thing. Any time you have a property for sale that you want people to be interested in, it's a common practice to try to drive up the price. Now, as far as Ric Flair's assertion that Dixie is trying to drive up the price by saying that the WWE is interested, that makes sense, but I'm not entirely sure why Ric Flair feels as though he's a person who has the insight or the knowledge to actually state something like that. It sounds like conjecture. To be quite honest with you, I don't know that at this point Flair is directly in contact with anybody at TNA. It kind of seemed like they may have parted ways in an acrimonious way, so I wouldn't put too much stock into Ric Flair's comments. Well,
hey, there it is. You said it very plain and very simple. I still believe that TNA is not worth more than their tape library, but it is what it is.
Yeah, we've had that argument.
Oh, we sure have. Listen, will WWE ever have a real competitor again in our lifetime?
It's tough to say. One of the reasons why the WWE is at the point that it's in is because of the longevity that it's had. At this point, it would be extremely difficult for any company to rival them. WWE has been around since it was the WWF. When was that? 1960s? When it was that? So, I mean, I don't know that anybody would be able to put their boots to the ground and carve out the same sort of path that WWE has had. I mean, you have companies like Ring of Honor and TNA, if you can call TNA a company at this point, Lord knows what's happening there. But a company like Ring of Honor, it's been around for, 10, 12 years now? Has it been that long?
Yeah, it's been that long. Absolutely.
And they've grown, but they haven't grown much. So it's almost impossible to say whether or not any company would be able to rival the WWE. If you put a gun to my head, I'd honestly say it's not going to happen.
Yeah, well, Ring of Honor has been around almost 15 years now, and TNA is right around the same point. And the fact that they don't have the traction in the marketplace anywhere near WWE, if they can't do it, who can? That's
it speaks to the WWE as a brand. And say what you will about Vince McMahon and his family, but they clearly know how to run a wrestling business.
They sure do. And you know what? They're like the Walmart of pro wrestling. They have closed everybody down. Anyone that gets close, they close them down. That's
a great analogy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Listen, this Alberto Del Rio, or Alberto El Patron, as he needs to be called from going forward, this situation where he was attacked with a knife outside of a restaurant. What's going on with that? Do you think that he's telling the truth, or is there something else going on there?
Well, I think one of the issues with the situation is that before he actually spoke out, there were numerous reports about what happened during the incident. I think a lot of people are confused by the fact that a lot of different wrestling websites were reporting that at one point it was that he was cut off in traffic and it turned into a whole altercation based off that. Some people say it was just a random fight in front of a bar. But Alberto El Patron, or Alberto El Presidente, I think is his name now, he actually addressed this on the MLW show. And he plainly said that he was out with Paige, somebody disrespected her, he got in the person's face, an altercation ensued, and I believe his specific words were he got the worst of it because, during the fight, person pulled out a knife, and thankfully Alberto wasn't, more seriously hurt.
Yeah, thank goodness for that. That's the truth. I mean, Jamie Noble got attacked with a knife by some folks as well. I don't know if this is a trend or not. But speaking of Paige, you brought her up. The WWE responded to what she had to say online and her family. The WWE said that she actually tested positive for an illegal substance. Mm-hmm. Is this the end of Paige and the WWE's relationship?
Well, you can never say never with the WWE. I mean, they mended fences with the Ultimate Warrior of all people. So regardless of how contentious the relationship is right now, there's always a hope that, in the end, all parties would be able to join together and, make this work. As far as right now is concerned, if history has anything to do with it, there's a strong possibility Paige is not going to be along for the WWE. With as outspoken she's been and her parents have been about the situation, WWE doesn't really care for that. The fact that they even had to release a statement to address what she has been saying, it might have been one of the final nails in her coffin. There's been reports over the years of how difficult she can be backstage, her attitude. Anybody who watches Total Divas can see that she's been reprimanded on numerous occasions. This is the second failed drug test. If you listen to WWE, Paige would dispute that, but it's not looking good for Paige.
No, it sure isn't. The WWE has brought on Goldberg and Brock Lesnar, building up this match that's supposed to be coming up at Survivor Series, which, they're really just promoting the video game. What is the state of pro wrestling right now? Do you think it's healthy, considering that they have to pull back and grab stars from the past like that to try to build up some momentum, or do you think it makes sense?
It makes business sense. Here's the thing. The wrestling business is not what it used to be. If you just look at the ratings, I think Raw averages like 2.5, 2.2 million viewers a week during its heyday, during the Attitude Era, where the casual fans would, break their necks to check out the show. They were around the 6s and 7s and sometimes 8s as far as, views are concerned. This is clearly designed to try to draw in those casual fans from, way back when Goldberg was actually popular. I honestly don't think this speaks highly of the state of wrestling itself. The fact that they have to pull in someone like Goldberg who, say what you will about him, he was extremely popular during his time. He has his place in history. But, since leaving the wrestling business, he hasn't necessarily spoke highly of it. He hasn't necessarily spoke highly of his time spent in the WWE. A lot of folks would say that he never really got to understand how the wrestling business actually works. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in this match. Goldberg feels as though he should never lose to anybody. I'm pretty sure Brock Lesnar wants to get a win back. Their match at WrestleMania, was it 20? WrestleMania 20?
20, yep, 20.
Yep. Their match at WrestleMania 20 was a complete disaster. So, I get the money aspect of it, but logistically, I have no reason to believe that it's not going to end up the same way it did, however many years ago. You know how outspoken the fans are at this point. Depending on where the event is, I'm not sure where Survivor Series is actually going to take place this year. But if it's in a place like Brooklyn or the Staples Center, it's going to get ugly.
Yeah, it definitely is going to get ugly. Listen, the most respected Lovell Porter of WrestleZone.com and Remember to Hit Record podcast. We thank you for giving us the state of pro wrestling. As always, sir, keep up the great work.
Happy to be here. Anytime.
All right, Boston bad boy. You've been talking about this big surprise that you have today. What do you have for us?
Well, don't
there?
build it up too much, but a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, Chuck Nowlin from WZLX here in Boston, 100.7. It's a classic rock station for those of you listening overseas. You can listen at WZLX.com. Chuck is here with us, and Chuck's a funny guy.
Funny how? What do you mean funny?
Funny like a clown. But Chuck actually told me a very cool story not that long ago about interviewing some cool people. And I thought you might be interested and the listeners might be interested.
Well, absolutely. First and foremost, Chuck Nowlin, the legend.
Wow.
The legend himself is here. Folks.
I'm still alive, though.
I don't know who let you into the secret location, but we're happy
into
to
the
see
lair.
I'm telling you. You've interviewed the who's who in all different forms of entertainment.
That is true.
Right? You've had William Shatner.
Yes.
You've even had Paul McCartney.
Correct.
But have you interviewed any pro wrestlers?
Have I ever?
Uh-oh.
My God.
Uh-oh.
Before I came here to this broadcast institution in Boston, I did work down in Miami for a couple of years. Had a great time, so much so that I had to leave Miami after a couple of years.
Yeah, there's not enough time to talk about all that, is there?
Is Chuck your real name?
It is, yes.
Oh, okay.
But while I was down there, I actually have a couple of stories for you.
Okay.
You might remember Ravashing Rick Rude.
Oh, my goodness. Ravashing Rick Rude, the man, of course.
Man, and at the time, this is going to be 1990, 1989.
Okay. At the height of his career.
At the height of his career. And here I am in Miami, and we decided to do a contest where we would pick a young lady who would get up after he is victorious in his match, and he would kiss someone, and she would absolutely swoon and fall backwards.
What was the legality?
And he would help her down
PG-13.
onto the mat, and she would just kind of lay there unconscious in passion. And just so enthralled in it.
What was the legalese surrounding that contest in Miami?
It's Miami. What are you talking about?
And let me just say, folks, this was absolutely part of the show. In fact, if you head over to Duke Loves Rasslin on Facebook, I'm going to show a video of Ravashing Rick Rude lip-locking a lady from the fans there and her passing out just like Chuck is describing.
What a gig, huh?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
What a gig. This was his thing.
Yeah.
So we decided we would do this contest where we would pick someone to be honored to have that happen to him. And we thought, might get a little bit of response. Oh, my God. We had the local television stations for ABC, CBS, and NBC all showed up. We did it in this club, which had a capacity of about 500. There was a line out the door.
Boy.
It was absolutely insane. So he showed up. He showed up for this, and all the TV cameras are going, the whole thing. I'm the MC. We have all these young ladies lined up. I sound like Donald Trump now.
Oh, God. Let's not go.
And since I was hosting, I got to walk into the dressing room.
I've seen it all before.
I've seen it all. Come on.
All right, Mitt Romney. Binders of women. He had binders of women, folks. Telling you.
So there's all these beautiful women showing up. And we did it by a crowd response, by applause. And the young lady who won, she had to practice, of course. So the crowd's going absolutely crazy. She gets up on stage, Ravashing Rick Rude, sporting that long, greasy mullet of his, looking so damn handsome.
Of course.
He helps her up, takes her by the hand. They lip lock. The crowd goes absolutely crazy. She melts. She melts backwards and just falls down. And that night, she got to go and be on television.
Did he have the Tom Selleck mustache? The
Magnum
PI?
yes, he
Tom
did.
Selleck,
yeah,
of course.
he was rocking that stuff.
Is Ravashing Rick Rude now also selling reverse mortgages like Tom Selleck?
Well, he's moved on to the great ring in heaven.
It is true.
Yes,
yeah.
but
Big
he was a
Matt
great
guy.
wrestler.
He was a great guy.
Great.
That was such a great promotion. Oh my God, I never expected it to be that big. But like you said, he was at the height of his popularity.
Absolutely.
We
He
had
was feuding
so
with
many
the
people.
Ultimate Warrior at the time in the
Ultimate
WWF,
Warrior.
and it was just
Big guy too, standing next to him.
Oh yeah.
Wow, I look like a child.
Well, you know, he was a competitor doing Mr. Olympia type of things, bodybuilding competitions and what have you.
I could see it.
Yeah.
He was very sweaty, very greasy because he came out with the shirt off. So he must have oiled up before. And I put my
You
hand
do
up.
that before the show.
I
don't
do.
you?
I do.
Before
That's
you
where
go
you
on the
learned it
radio?
from. Huh?
And Mike is my producer. Sometimes he shaves the hair off the back.
Well,
and, so I get a good sheen going.
See that?
Chuck has asked every day for the past 10 years if I could shave his chest, and every day I say no.
Wow.
But he keeps asking.
Well,
He's
Chuck
got
he
perseverance.
wants to get into the ring. I mean, he's got to be ready.
It's the ring of radio.
That's right.
Okay?
That's
It's a battle
right.
out there.
Go
My
on.
other story is, at the time, they were doing the pay-per-view down in Miami.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl of wrestling.
Oh, WrestleMania.
WrestleMania.
Oh.
It was in Miami.
Okay.
So us being the local rock station, I got permission to go backstage and do my entire afternoon show leading up to it. So I was there from 2 to 7 p.m.
Unbelievable.
So I go into the Miami arena. They're putting the mats up, and guys working all over the place. And I go backstage to do my show, and as I'm walking through there, I see they've got weights all over the place. Guys are pumping up. They have incredible amounts of food, like incredible, awesome food
Gotta
everywhere.
get those calories,
Giant
man.
shrimp
Oh,
platters.
my God. Again, beautiful women all over the place, roaming around backstage. Everybody saying hi, everybody friendly. So I'm doing my show, and they say, you're going to go back, and you're going to get a chance to talk to these guys.
Wow.
They're all kind of working out a little bit right now, but what do you say we hit them all together? Yeah, absolutely, fine. So I wait a little while, and I get the cue to go in there, and I walk into this room, and there's Rowdy Roddy Piper.
The
was
legend.
standing. The legend. He was the big guy at that time.
Yeah.
He was in there, I think, would it be the Honky Tonk Man?
Of course.
Who was the guy who dressed as the cop?
Oh, the Big Boss Man.
The Big Boss Man.
Of course.
Sergeant Slaughter.
Yes.
God.
Was Hulk Hogan must have been there.
He didn't show up for this, though.
Oh.
He wasn't
he
at
was
this
probably
particular
on his bus.
thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hogan
knowing
with the
Hogan.
bus, of course.
But God, there was like 10 or 12 of these guys.
Wow.
So I walked in there expecting this is going to be really tense because these guys hate each other, man. I can't believe they're in the same room. This is nuts.
Kayfabe.
So I walk in there. I'm introduced to Roddy. He's very nice. We chat a little bit. I say, all right, well, we're playing a song right now. It's like a 5-minute song. So if we can just chill for a few minutes, it's going to take a little bit of time. Yeah, no problem. So we have like 3 or 4 microphones. So I have one. I give him one. My producer's got some others. And the other guys start wandering over. Roddy's kind of waving them up. Come on, we're going to do some radio. So as we're waiting, I hear them talking about, hey, how's the kids? Oh, they're great. I can't believe second grade. Where's the time go?
You're ready for these guys to rip each other's heads off. Yeah.
And then it's like, hey, thank you so much. We had a great time at the barbecue last week.
Wow.
We don't get that many days off. It's really good to relax. Oh, no problem, man. What do you say? We should go to Joe's Stone Crab in Miami after this. It's going to be fun. And I'm just kind of taking, wow, these guys are really nice. So I say, okay, couple of seconds, here we go. And at the time I was working at the station. 97 GTR, Chuck Nolan backstage. Let me tell you something, Chuck! And Rowdy Roddy Piper was off, and I got sprayed with about a gallon of saliva. He would do his thing, screaming first at me, and then he would turn his attention to somebody else. And that guy would wait, and then he would jump in. And it was like a ballet.
Nice.
The promo.
And these guys were going one after another, and they were amazing. It was theater, and nobody made a mistake but me. They just made it so incredible. And it went for like 5-6 minutes. And I'm sure back at the station, they're turning the volume down because the mics are just pinned. They're just screaming and yelling. So I wrapped the thing up. We're live at Miami Arena. It's WrestleMania tonight in town. I finish up. They're all like, hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Just like that.
That was awesome, man.
Light goes on.
Thank you so much for coming by. You're going to stay tonight? We should, get some food before you go. Hey, thanks. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Those guys are amazing.
Were you ever at any point put into the camel clutch by the Iron Sheik?
I was not. The king of all sheikdom. The Iron Sheik. I love the Iron Sheik.
Tough customer, brother.
I still hear some of his interviews with Howard Stern and stuff. Wow.
And there's a documentary about him on Netflix. You should check it out. It's pretty intense.
Yeah. You don't want to interview him because he might chop you across the chest in the
I
middle
bet
of the
he.
interview.
Well, I don't
Piper
think,
was nice to
on
you.
terrestrial radio. I don't think we could have the Iron Sheik on.
There's not enough dump buttons in the world.
He's got a really good vocabulary. Yeah.
That's right. How can folks find you online there, Chuck?
You can go to WZLX.com. You can listen to the station from anywhere on the planet Earth from there. You can also email me, Chuck at WZLX.com. I'd love to hear.
And you're on the face pages.
And I am on that face page, as he speaks of, at Chuck Nolan WZLX, and Twitter, same thing.
The legend, Chuck Nolan. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a round of applause.
Oh, man. It was an honor.
Don't inflate
it's
his
an
ego
honor.
too much.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we're rolling when you're ready.
Up next, more of your listener-submitted questions, a.k.a. Ask Duke. But before we get to any of that, I have to remind you to head over to Barnyard Cheese. That's right, Barnyard Cheese over at 149 Avenue C between 9th and 10th Streets in New York City. You know, Boston Bad Boy, last time I told you about the Vito sandwich.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Brought back family memories. Great-grandfather named Vito.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I mean, we've been talking about your Italian heritage a lot.
I know. It has come up quite a few times.
It sure
tonight,
has.
And I'm sure it will again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, listen, this week, we're keeping it simple, okay?
All right.
We're talking about the Barnyard Classic.
I like classic.
Hey, classic is good, right? Check out these ingredients. Not 1, but 2 eggs.
All right.
Thick cut bacon. Farmhouse cheddar. And listen, that's all on a flat Portuguese-style olive oil bread.
I would eat that for dinner. That sounds breakfasty, but I would eat that for dinner.
It's so massive you could probably have it for 2 meals.
Dinner, then breakfast again the next day.
That's right.
Wow, there we go. That's a whole new phenomenon.
And you can eat it hot or cold. They prefer it hot, but you can eat it cold too. I've had it. I'm telling you. You got to stop depriving yourself of deliciousness. Visit barnyardcheese.com for more info. Enjoy.
See, you can do it to a concert and just don't care, but one thing I do care about is Duke's wrestling. And I got what the guy has nothing but love for the business.
Man, I'll tell you, it is always a pleasure to catch up with Lovell Porter of Remember to Hit Record and WrestleZone.com. That guy really knows his wrestling, huh?
Absolutely.
I'm telling you.
And just, way more than you, sure.
And what a special guest that you brought on this week,
yes.
Boston Bad Boy.
Yes, yes. I tried to keep it local. I know, we're in our secret location in Boston, but, you got to bring in a little bit of the local flavor. And Chuck's a guy that's been around for a long time.
Yeah, what is he on, his 25th year?
He's 25 years, and then beyond, in the industry much longer, but 25 years at WZLX in Boston, 100.7 Classic Rock.
He's truly a legend in radio, and we really appreciate Chuck coming to the secret location today.
Absolutely.
That was awesome.
And, he's lost a lot of weight. He's very chiseled. I had to say that. That was part of me bringing him on the show, that I had to tell everyone how thin, svelte he was looking.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if he's doing that DDP yoga that a lot of the folks
is he maybe one of those yoga cults?
Yeah.
I'll have to talk to him about that next time I see him.
I'm telling you. So what do you have for us this week, Boston Bad Boy?
Well, I have some questions, but I was doing some research. I came across an interesting tidbit, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it. Just, my mind is always working.
Here we go. This guy's going off the rails, folks.
Yeah, well, I have genius level intellect. Okay, let me start there for those of you who don't know.
Putting himself over.
And so here we go. What's the biggest news story in the universe right now?
Well, it's not. Are you talking the wrestling universe?
No, I'm talking no, the actual universe.
Okay, so you have the
including wrestling. I think this trumps it all.
Oh. Okay, the presidential election, 2016.
Right.
Okay.
So, we're not a political show, and we're a wrestling show.
Yeah.
And we keep everything wrestling related. I myself, working as a journalist in my other career, I know how to cover things. I know how to talk about things, and quite frankly, I'm trumped out, like probably everybody on CNN is as well. But in looking at Trump and wrestling, they intersect, and specifically the WWE. Previously the WWF.
Mm-hmm.
Trump is in the WWE Hall of Fame, is he not?
He is. Class of 2013.
So fairly recently.
Mm-hmm.
Fairly recently. And the reason is, obviously he's been friends with Vince McMahon. Vince is, the Connecticut, New York, the Northeast. Obviously these guys, big money guys, they know each other.
Of course. Explain
to me and the listeners, what is there a deeper connection there? Because I did some research, but I there's some kind of actual business transaction.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Donald Trump was an early investor in World Wrestling Entertainment, which we all know now is WWE. In fact, Trump actually hosted not one, but two WrestleManias back to back.
Hosted them as in his event.
They were at
Trump
Tower.
At Trump Tower.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Caesar's Palace. Excuse me.
So it gets me thinking. Then, okay, so Trump, money guy, Vince, shameless money guy, wrestler. Where does that trickle down? Where do those economics trickle down? Who does that make you think of?
When I think of Trump, you're talking about?
Well, when you think of, Trump, that personality, where does it come through?
Okay, well.
You know what I'm getting at here? Yeah, you're feeling what I'm getting at here? Because there's a certain wrestler I have in mind. It stuck out to me.
I know who you're thinking of, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
That's right. That's right. First of all, I always loved his suit. I just love the suit with the dollar signs on it, which is
the money suit.
The money suit,
yeah.
Which is almost like the Riddler's get up from the Batman, which was a great piece of marketing.
Oh,
so here's the $1 Million Man. Now, when does the $1 Million Man come onto the scene?
He becomes the $1 Million Man about 86, 87.
All right, so he's been around a while.
Yeah.
He's been around from way back. So he's rich and he's mean, right?
Oh, he's mean.
He's the Jordan Belfort of wrestling.
Absolutely.
Right? Here's my fun coupons. I'm going to buy my way.
Do a stupid human trick, and I'll pay you. And then here's the thing. After they do the trick, he interrupts them in the middle. So you had a kid bounce the basketball for a minute straight. Then he kicks the basketball, and the kid gets to a minute so he can take the money back.
That's right. So he had better hair, although similar.
Yeah.
They were both blonde.
Okay.
Trump and Ted DiBiase are both have these kind of bouffant hairdos.
Wow.
And now that women are in wrestling, let's look at the other side because, it's easy to just sit here and trash Trump. Hillary Clinton, the former Secretary of State. Does she remind you of anybody in particular?
Well,
because it jumped out to me immediately. And I'm going to throw you a hint. It was the pantsuit.
Oh, jeez. All right. Well, Linda McMahon, Vince McMahon's wife, Linda McMahon.
See, we agree on something.
The former president of World Wrestling Federation, Entertainment, what have you. She's actually one of the people who helped build the company.
Right. So, all right. Now, we've established two lines of logic here for those of you playing at home.
I don't know where this guy's going, folks.
We've got, just follow me here. Yeah. We've got Donald Trump / $1 Million Man.
Okay.
Okay. We've got Hillary Clinton / Linda McMahon. Okay. And as a former president of WWE, she helped Vince get that company from small and then regional to the biggest company for wrestling in the world and one of the biggest entertainment companies in the world.
True.
Capable and able and kind of a sympathetic character, right? I mean, she's, he's sort of the good cop, bad cop kind of thing.
Just like Bill and Hillary. Okay.
Bill and Hillary or Trump and Hillary. Okay, but don't get ahead of me now.
Boy.
Don't get ahead of me now.
Oh, boy.
Don't get ahead of me now.
Where's this guy going?
Got to keep these
folks?
alligators down. The only thing that's different between Hillary and Linda is obviously, I think.
Well, Linda is a Republican, and she's a staunch Republican. So I don't want to offend Linda McMahon. We love Linda McMahon. She's run for senator in Connecticut as a Republican.
Right.
So calling her Hillary Clinton...
Well, she might not like that, and I'm sure Clinton wouldn't like it either.
Okay.
But we're talking that there is a powerful woman resemblance. If we're talking, we're trying to form threads of connection.
Okay.
Here, okay. So you got the Donald, you've got the Million, you've got Linda, and you've got Hillary.
Okay.
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 Writing this down.
Yep.
But follow me here.
Keep track.
Follow me here.
Keep track.
So you have the cast of characters now, right? You're
Okay.
following along.
Okay.
Now you, sir, in your other life, the less important life, because wrestling is life, are involved in politics. So you know how structured things can be. You understand how elections work and, sort of the nuts and bolts.
Yes.
The behind the scenes. You understand the relationships involved. I don't. A lot of people don't know the inside game. I think we can both agree on something about this election.
What's that?
It's completely insane. Something isn't right. Something isn't right.
I don't disagree with you there, and it is interesting,
Because you're dealing with, on a presidential level, major party politics, major money, major exposure, and the best, we're supposed to believe the best that an organization representing 50% of Americans can come up with is Donald Trump, who they don't even like. How do they hitch their wagon unavoidably to this this Titanic candidate? It seems like something I've seen before.
Well, there is a theory. Let me say this, and I've worked on many a campaign, all from selectman campaigns in small towns all the way to, national elections.
Sure.
I've seen it all in, past 20 years.
And then some.
And then some. And I've worked in municipal and state government. So I've seen my fair share of what goes on behind the scenes. And I can tell you, folks, that it is a little odd to have a candidate like Trump who appears to be working as hard as he can against himself. He's literally dealing against himself. And everything that he says, it's to his detriment. Meanwhile, the other side is getting propped up. So I will admit, I've never seen anything like that before because, elections it's a major machine we're talking about here. So even when a candidate is going off the rails, there's a whole team that steps in and says, hey, cut that out. We got to stick to the script here. We got to move forward. So it is odd to see this guy just
you're sort of starting to put the pieces together here, and I'm going to give you credit for that, which I don't normally do.
Oh boy.
So you're saying one side's getting propped up, the other side's putting themselves over.
It appears.
It appears. I mean, just to a casual observer. And again, I'm not interested in getting into anybody's politics. You vote for whomever you would like to vote for.
That's right.
And your view is your own, okay? I'm talking about the mechanics of how this is going down. And the personalities involved. Mm-hmm. And especially a personality like Donald Trump, who's incredibly outspoken.
Strong personality.
Strong, right. One way or the other. It can be said that he is a strong thing. So what if, let's say, hypothetically...
Where are you going?
Let's just say, because again, I have an active imagination, this is some sort of... there's some predetermination going on here.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about... This is Russian hackers. This is Putin saying he wants to set up a puppet regime. Let's go even more insane than that, because we've already gone beyond the red line.
More insane than that.
Right. Let's go even more.
What,
what's
aliens?
more over the top than that? What's more over the top? What if this was, and given Donald's background in the entertainment business, given his connection to the McMahons, what if he went to the experts? What if he went to the experts in entertainment? What if he went to the people who put on the biggest spectacles in show business and said, how do we do the greatest spectacle in the history of the world?
You're not trying to say what I think you're trying to say here.
I'm talking about a person. Okay, I'm talking about a person at the top of this pyramid.
Oh, boy.
The person at the top who's made it clear they want to control the universe by creating a universal belt.
Oh, no.
I'm talking about someone who's personal friends with Donald J. Trump. I'm talking with someone who took his money as an investment to help grow their own empire.
Are you losing your mind right now?
No, I'm refreshed. I came back from vacation. I'm feeling good.
What are you trying to say, Boston bad boy? Spit it out. What are you trying to say?
I'm simply trying to say that there's a better chance than not that this is a conspiracy.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's a conspiracy engineered by some of the greatest minds. And by greatest, I'm not saying that in a positive, just the most accomplished minds in entertainment and over-the-top insanity.
Who?
The WWE are helping Donald Trump engineer the election for spectacle.
Are you...
Think about this. It's the jumping off point. It's the face that launched 1,000 ships. Because how many books... television shows, movies, articles, spin-off, from this one event in time where we are, how much spin-off happens?
Are you kidding
How much
me?
money is there to be made?
Are you really trying to say that Vince McMahon has manipulated the 2016 presidential election?
Oh, I'm not saying anything like that. I'm postulating a theory that perhaps there are threads that run through the relationships of the people involved. And if you wanted to, if you or I wanted to do this, if we wanted to have, if we wanted to put on a Andy Kaufman-esque stunt, and you wanted to pull a spectacle to this extent, what's the next closest size spectacle you could think of? A professional wrestling event.
Oh, my goodness.
He would go to the experts.
Are you kidding
People
me?
he already knows.
Do you know how crazy you sound?
It doesn't matter.
You talk about threads. This is threads of crazy right now from you, Iron Mike Pelosi. You think Vince McMahon, of all people,
I'm not saying
is going to set up the country. Sorry, so let's say that he sets
I'm not
it
saying
up.
he would do it of his own volition. Maybe he was asked.
Oh, boy.
If his friend came to him and said, listen, I want you to do this thing for me. I need some advice.
This guy's losing his
They're
mind.
in the
folks.
business.
He's
They're in the
losing his
business.
mind.
They have the infrastructure
Oh,
to
my
set this
goodness.
guy up.
But no.
And there's money.
Vince McMahon is all about pro wrestling. He doesn't care about the 2016 presidential election.
Of course he does. He's a businessman. He's a very wealthy businessman.
So
when we talk about taxes going up on the 1%, who's in that stratosphere? Who just made $30 million on a sale of stock from the WWE?
Vince McMahon.
Okay, thank you very much.
Boy.
Have you made $30 million this month?
No.
Not yet?
No.
You quite haven't hit,
Not
I haven't
yet.
hit the quota
Yeah,
yet.
I just missed it.
Just
Yeah.
missed it, yeah. Exactly. So we're not worried about that.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that, it's a little convenient. It's a little convenient that these guys were involved. And weren't they involved in the football deal, too? Wasn't
XFL.
Vince? Yes.
Oh, boy.
So let's see. It's Occam's razor. Is it that a guy who's completely, probably living in his own universe, as Donald Trump seems to be, whether you want to be in the universe with him or not is up to you. How does he become the representative of 50% of the American people, allegedly, or at least the party that supposedly represents a good majority of Americans? How does that happen unless there's an engineering element behind it?
You know what?
These people the people who nominated him are trying to figure out a way to get rid of him. He torpedoed his own vice president
Absolutely.
at a debate
What
on
does that have to do
national
with
television.
Vince McMahon? What does that have to do with Vince McMahon?
Think of the effing storyline, my friend.
All right. You know
Think
what?
about this.
Folks,
what kind of a movie is this
we
going to make?
got to get out of here.
Who's an expert at
This
storylines?
guy has lost his ever-living mind. I mean, he's just talking about craziness. Vince McMahon, please, I beg of you.
Do you know who they said was crazy?
Who?
They said Marconi was crazy.
Yeah, well.
Because wireless radio, what? Moving pictures
So you're
eventually?
Marconi. He thinks he's Marconi now, folks.
It
This
goes
guy-
back to what I said at the very
Listen,
beginning of the show. There are
that's
some better
enough of this.
Italians than
That's enough.
Columbus.
Folks, thank you for tuning in once again. We want to thank Lovell Porter of WrestleZone.com. And remember to hit record. Of course, we want to thank Chuck, the legend, legend in radio there, for joining us today. Folks, join us next week where hopefully the Boston Bad Boy finds his mind that he lost.
I'm
I mean,
telling you,
he's
it's
talking
just
about Vince McMahon
Listen, I want
setting
our
up
listeners
elections.
to chime in
I
and
don't
just
even-
say, if you wanted to engineer something this level, would you not go to the best people in the game?
You are absolutely
I'm giving credit
crazy.
to Vince McMahon.
No, you're killing us here. I mean, God, what?
You know what?
Listen,
You're crazy.
Stay off
you
this,
keep sending me
whatever
these
you've been
tinfoil
drinking there. What's
things,
in
and I
your
have no
coffee?
idea.